just to give you a little taste of what might be coming up at some later point for you and for the others who are not from AUT, but you might be able to upgrade to sooner rather than later. Here are a few things that I thought would be very interesting or could be interesting for you to know. And then also looking at a couple of plugins, just to show you some screenshots, because Mark had already touched upon open badges, and so I'd just like to show you a couple of those as well. As I just said, we are now on Mahara 1.9, and while there aren't that many new features in Mahara 1.8, it's still a great release, especially when it's being used by multiple institutions. And so Shen already mentioned that you can now drag and drop files onto a page. A nice additional feature is that when you actually view a portfolio page and have lots of files on there, currently as instructor or even as students like Megan and Janine, you need to download every file yourself if you wanted to also have them on your computer. Now with Mahara 1.9, you can just download an entire folder in one zip file and then unzip it on your computer. So you can get all 10 files in one go, don't really have to go through the individual steps. Again, making it easier to work with it in different scenarios. Also, you guys were using image galleries quite a bit, so it seems like I've been doing that presentation almost for you, because previously you weren't able to show descriptions in an image gallery. You could show a description when you displayed an image by itself, but now you can have descriptions also when you show your image gallery, making it easier to show your workflow, to do step-by-step instructions, because you can just also have step 1 and then write something next to it and then have your explanations tying the text more easily to the images again. And sometimes we do want to be more flexible and not do what everybody else does. So now in folders, you can also decide the sort order of the files, whether they are ascending or descending, so A through Z or Z through A, making it sometimes easier if you need a certain order that you can then decide that. And that is, again, on an individual's level. So if I want A through Z, but a friend of mine wants Z through A, that's entirely possible. We do give a default sort order, but everybody can always change that. Another thing is feedback, of course. We've heard a lot today that people are using Mahara and the ePortfolio to also provide feedback on pages, and sometimes it would be nice to be able to be more flexible there. What we also see in schools, especially in the language departments, is that the instructors or teachers don't just give feedback in text, so write it in, but sometimes they upload audio files to really jump in and give the actual pronunciation. So similarly to what you said earlier, how you might want to expand your portfolios and not just uploading text or writing text in there, but maybe working with videos, videoing yourself and giving your reflection. That's the same thing that instructors can also do. Give your feedback in an audio file. Record yourself while you're driving or while you're sitting on your couch and don't really want to work on your computer. Or shoot a quick video of it. And that's already been possible in Mahara. You could always upload a file as your feedback. But now you can, the students can, and authors of a page can decide where the feedback is to be placed on a page. Currently, it's always at the bottom of the page. But now you can actually incorporate it better into your page layout. Again, in that way, I think bringing the feedback more into the page, making it more part of the portfolio and the experience, instead of just saying, oh, it's at the bottom. But really, if it fits better with your layout, have it on the right-hand side, or have it on the top, or incorporate it into the middle. And so feedback is just a block. Yes?
You can therefore have multiple feedback blocks on the page?
Haven't actually tried that. We designed it to be only one block. Sorry that I haven't tried that yet. I just started writing that functionality up for the user manual, so I'll make sure that I mention it.
Sometimes it's useful to provide feedback at various different parts of the page.
Yes. Right now, I suspect you can only use it once, because you can always add comments on a specific file and go to that page. But that could certainly be something to look into in the future. Right now, we really only took the block from the bottom and made it more flexible to be used throughout. And then something that you might already know if you're on LinkedIn, there's a profile completion sidebar. So the institution can decide what or how much information from a profile needs to be there for our user to be profile complete. So that you can say, well, in order to use the site, you should really have your first name, last name, you should have at least one journal entry and other things. So that, again, you guide students through the portfolio creation process or through the work that they do on Mahara, not so much by templates, but more according to content. You can also say, okay, you need to have something in your education history, or you need to have something in your employment history. We want to see your goals or your interests. It's not that they can't get on with other stuff when they haven't completed it. It just shows to them, okay, how much of my profile have I already completed of the information that my institution would like to see. And we have the so-called institution-specific dashboard. Currently, when you go to a Mahara site, the home page, and once you log in, your dashboard page is the same for everyone. With this new functionality, it would be possible to put all students into one institution in Mahara and all instructors into another, and then display different information on that dashboard to the students than to the instructors, making it easy to have announcements tailored to students and also having announcements tailored to instructors without both of them seeing everything there. And we also support Creative Commons 4.0 as licensed now, because that came out several months ago. And so now you can license your work using Creative Commons 3.0 or 4.0, depending on which license you'd prefer, both on a page and also if licenses are activated in the instance itself. And that is accessibility. I didn't mention it as first thing, but it is actually one of our biggest feature complexes in Mahara 1.9. Because we had a student intern at Catalyst this summer, Jonah Mingard. He's a student at WIC, and now actually in Japan. And he worked over the entire 3 summer months tirelessly on improving accessibility together with Julia Serrano, our usability and accessibility expert. And what that means is that users who are vision impaired, who can only use the keyboard, or who also depend on a screen reader, can use the site completely. We still have a few things to fix in the administration area, but on the user front end, we are completely accessible. And of course, there might still be some bugs, which we'd be happy to fix if somebody lets us know. But it makes a huge difference to these groups, because in the past, they always needed somebody to help them with their portfolio creation, and now they can just do everything themselves. So where we always click and drag and drop and do other things, they can now use the keyboard completely. They can also work with the flexible layout and create different layouts themselves. And so that is a major thing, it's especially also for public organizations and institutions, because we are more and more required to be accessible so that anybody can use the sites. And so we've achieved the Web Content Accessibility Guidelines level AA, which is pretty much the guidelines that are also used in New Zealand. So we are really happy about that work that has been done, and our goal is also to any new functionality that we implement into Mahara is accessible from the start, so that we don't say, okay, now we do accessibility work, but that it just comes in one flow, because that way it is just more easily integrated and there right from the start. And now just a couple of things, because open badges were mentioned earlier, to look at what you can do in open badges. And this is actually not Mahara core functionality. There are 2 plugins, both developed by Eric Roussel from Finland, who's been working closely with the Mozilla Open Badges team. And this is the latest plugin of, that's the first plugin he developed, the Open Badges Displayer plugin. That was also the one Mark mentioned. And that allows you to display any badges from your Mozilla backpack in Mahara. You will only need to put it into a collection and make that collection public, and then you can see it. So I've connected my backpack to that Mahara instance, and so I see all my collections. I'm Mozilla and course badges, but these are just the public ones. And now I can choose them, and once I go to my page, I can see all the badges that I have earned within one of these collections. And as soon as I earn another badge, put it into that collection, it is displayed there as well. Now this is the displayer side of things, which is nice if you have a program like Moodle or Blackboard on the other end to actually issue the badges. But now through the second plugin that Eric developed, the Open Badges Factory plugin, we are also able to issue badges directly from within Mahara. And so you create your badges currently on Open Badges Factory, which is a application in beta status, so they are currently testing things. And so you give it an image, you give it a name, you give it a description, you give it the criteria why you're earning this badge. And then in Mahara, you will have your people who are in a group, and then you can tell them or say who is supposed to receive the badge. That functionality is currently still somewhat limited. It is a very good start to look into how can I issue badges, but there's nothing automatic on it like in Moodle at the moment where you can say, after 2 forum posts, giving feedback and completing 3 assignments, you get your badge. Currently, this is still a very manual process. And so we are testing this and see what should be improved or how should it be improved so that we can eventually put it into Mahara Core and make it available to everyone. But if you'd already like to try it out, it is definitely on the community website, and you're welcome to use it and give it a go and see how you like working with it. And this point is not so much to talk about at the moment because we've already mentioned assessment before. I would just like to say that as Mahara users are becoming more interested also in assessment features, we will put some more assessment features in there, but always mindful that people can turn them off so that they are not necessarily needed to be used. And currently the University of Canberra is working quite a bit on getting assessment into Mahara, using assessments for their teacher education students, and so we will see more and more of that in the future. But on the other side, we are also looking more into social networking features or social features, which are going to be developed by and for Totra LMS. And so we will see more things where people can also connect with each other and have that side of Mahara expanded as well. And if you have any questions, suggestions, or complaints, you're very welcome to send me an email or connect with me on Twitter, or also through the Mahara user group, for which Shen and Lisa put out a piece of paper outside where you can sign up if you'd like to be added to the list for announcements there, because we would really like to get a user group or 2 going in New Zealand to have events like this, but not just for one organization, but for multiple ones, so that people, users and also developers get together, learn from each other, and can then improve practices as well as the application. Thank you.